Tom asked for these two old folky songs, not fogey songs. There's a yes'in in there that's not printed in your text that I forgot about until we went to press. So if you want to slide the yes'in in before the second and third lines, that's fine. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? Yes, and how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretending he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? How many years must one have before he can hear people cry? And how many deaths will it take till he knows too many people have died? Well, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
We're going to have a lot of visitors today. We not only Mary Lou, I'm really happy that she's here and that Gary is always here. And now we're going to be with Mary Oliver for a minute. And so if you can take out your programs and read with me, we're going to try one of her poems. So we'll read it kind of slowly and cautiously and meditatively or something like that. You do not have to be good.
You do not have to walk on your knees
for 100 miles through the desert repenting.
You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves.
Tell me about despair, yours.
And I will tell you mine.
Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain
are moving across the landscapes,
over the prairies and the deep trees.
the mountains and the rivers.
Meanwhile, the wild geese,
High in the clean blue air, are heading home again.
whoever you are, no matter how lonely,
The world offers itself to your imagination.
calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. I see the welcome key before the response reading. So I look to you all and say welcome and good morning, friends. I selected August 31st as a day for service, and why did I do that? Because it was the only one available. By the time I signed up for it, they said, here, let me look up and see what you can have, and I had really no choice. But as another person said one of these Sundays, I sure am happy that it's finally here. On the other hand, I had a lot of time this summer. I spent the time in a very rewarding way finding out what I really wanted to concentrate on today. It's what I probably know the best. It's about invisible people. And what I'm concentrating on today is just one example of what we at Fountain Street Church think about as us. So now I'm repeating what we hear in some form every week, that everyone's welcome here. We would love it if you found your home here, as many of us have. It is a place to free your mind, grow your soul, and save the world or work for world's people. We promise to be always ready to do it with you. Welcome to everyone. So the reading I'm going to pick now is from Wendell Berry. And it's also thematic, and it kind of connects to Mary Oliver's also. When despair for the world grows in me, and when I awake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives might be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things which do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. I wanted to tell you that I've been coming to Fountain Street for about 10 years. But it was 2 years before that I flew to California to try to persuade my oldest child, my son Doug, to come back to Grand Rapids with me. He had been showing signs of disorientation, delusions, hallucinations, bad decisions, all signs of a severe problem. This had been going on for a few years, but we, his family, weren't able to see it first, or believe it, or understand it, of course. It was very difficult to convince him to leave the place he loved, the work he was doing, and the woman he was living with, but I think he realized that he had hit a brick wall. Well, he and I arrived back in Grand Rapids. He went into a hospital for mental illness. 4 or 5 troubling years went by, in and out of mental hospitals, trying different medications and therapies. During this time, he and I started coming here to Fountain Street. One of the few things we could do together. Coincidentally, last month I got a card from Fountain Street Church, letting me know that it was 5 years ago that both Doug and I became members together. I have in my desk at home the candle given to me. Doug got one too, but I doubt he has much today that he had 5 years ago. The road for him has collapsed under his feet. His sickness has progressed terribly. It was in those early years between 2002 and 2007 that I heard about an organization called NAMI. That's spelled N-A-M-I, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI is a national organization which has many functions in research and advocacy, but most important, it develops programs for local communities. Today I want to talk about my experience with NAMI and the individuals with serious mental illness and their support people who our local affiliate of NAMI works with. These are the invisible people I constantly think of and work on behalf of. The first meeting of NAMI I went to was with Doug's mom, who was my wife at that time. She and I were already progressing our firstborn sickness in different ways, grieving very differently. I felt very alone as I walked into the meeting and saw people I didn't know. I had never seen them before. I can't remember the informational talk of the evening. After it was over, I hesitantly joined other people and I heard some of I ate some of the prepared refreshments. People told me about NAMI's support group meeting, which was scheduled for the following week. I went to it, and I heard others talk painfully about their loved ones' lives, so similar to what I was enduring. For the first time, I thought maybe I was not so alone. There were others who might be able to understand my pain. I certainly heard and felt theirs. Who are these loved ones that we at the support group mourn and mourn with? These are my invisible people, our invisible people. You know, I think most of us have seen or heard about the movie The Soloist. It's about a person with schizophrenia. That is, a person who has delusions, hears voices that other people don't, has erratic behavior. The soloist is and was also a very talented musician. Or perhaps you've seen the movie The Brilliant Mind about Dr. John Nash, who was the most eminent mathematician of his time. Getting his doctorate about the same time he was legally an adult. Then at age 24, he developed the Nash equilibrium theory, which remains today the basis of much of modern theory and practice in many aspects of our lives. The Nobel Committee considered him to be the most outstanding economist of his time. But it took more than 30 years for the committee to award Dr. Nash the Nobel Prize. People think that it was feared that his delusions, hallucinations, erratic behavior would disrupt the ceremony. The movie The Soloist got our attention, didn't it? Because of an all-star cast, Jamie Foxx, Robert Downey Jr., as well as being a Hollywood production with a riveting story. But the soloist is not Jamie Foxx. The soloist is a real person. His name is Nathaniel Ayers. He still lives today, albeit in terrible conditions. Likewise, the movie The Brilliant Mind, John Nash is not just a notable, brilliant mind. He's a real person living today with schizophrenia. What I'm trying to do is to realize that these men are not generalized, abstract supermen, but are real, live, sick people who exist and deserve help. I want to think about, for a while, about people that live very close to you and to me. In all of these few things I'm going to remember, obviously, I'm going to change people's names and truncate their stories, but I'm not fabricating anything. I remember our last NAMI support group, at which two of the people who came were women who came alone. The first woman, Janice, talked about her 32-year-old son who had been sick for about 10 years. Like many other people, he began showing signs of mental illness in his 20s. A few years ago, Janice convinced her son to come home from Las Vegas. He stayed home for a few months and then left again. Now he's living somewhere in a cabin with others out west. She asked her other son to find him. Her ex-husband is attempting to do the same. She knows her son is sick and is very worried, repeating, "What will become of him?" But she also seemed to have an almost serene calm about her, saying that she had put her boy in God's hands. Personally, I couldn't quite understand how Janice said she was able to do that, but it gave her some kind of comfort, and I wondered then, and I still do. Would I be better off if I were able to do that? The other person at the meeting was Cecilia. She was unable to communicate without sobbing. She talked a bit about her son, who is now 17 and just beginning to show signs of erratic behavior which worry her. She has just completed our NAMI 12-week family-to-family course, which she finished about a month before. Cecilia scanned our support group and then uttered that she was looking for someone, a woman named Martha. She had met Martha in the family-to-family course that she and Martha had taken together. Cecilia said she had been able to connect with Martha during the course and was hoping Martha would come to the support group. Martha's daughter was a talented university athlete and student. She had tried suicide during that 12-week course that both Cecilia and Martha had attended. Recently, Cecilia had just learned that after the course was finished, Martha's daughter had successfully ended her own pain. But not the pain of her disrupted family and friends left behind. She was 27 when she died. Amidst Cecilia's sobs, she was able to tell us what a help Martha had been to her during the course and how she needed to contact Martha again to express her sadness at the recent death of Martha's daughter. The bonding of people in both the support group and the family-to-family course is a key feature. I had already known about Martha, her ex-husband, and had communicated with his co-workers. They had sent some donations too. I emailed Martha telling her about Cecilia's pain. We're planning on more connections in our NAMI life. My son Doug, too, was knocked down at the beginning of his career and had many talents and showed great promise, much like Martha's daughter. He was an excellent athlete, this city's tennis champion. When he graduated from college, he won awards as being the best male athlete at the college. He was also the best scholar in 2 different departments. Then he went out east and completed 2 graduate degrees. At another support group meeting, 2 women and a man came seeking information and help. One of the women was a divorced mother of her sick 30-year-old son. The other woman was the new wife of the son's father. The 3 of them came to the meeting working together, at least for the son, the young man. Now, statistics tell us that there's a high correlation of divorce with the loss of a child. Yes, that was true for these 3 people. But amidst divorce and remarriage, there was the very unusual of trying to get along because of the love of the son, for the son, and then they were looking for and finding other people to support the 3 of them. At a later meeting, Sally talked about her adult son who had thoughts about taking over the world, conquering the world, very common in this world of schizophrenia that we live in. He also told her that he would kill her. Sally knows her son needs help, and she needs help. She didn't know where to go, where to turn. She came to our NAVI meeting for information, for advice from others who are going through or have gone through similar experiences with loved ones. She told us her husband doesn't think their son is sick. She explains that her husband can't accept that his only son is sick. Sally works during the day, then comes home at night, trying to deal with her son, understand him, and get him help. Her husband generally travels during the week, and I'm going to add, it is not uncommon for the mother or the woman to be the one taking care of the sick one. I wrote in here, I question. Several years ago, Doug's mom surprised me with a compliment about me sticking with Doug. Don't know how you could do anything else. Finally, I want to recall briefly Dorothy and Ken. They've been married a long time, have an adult son. All in the family have been through much, many hospitals, medications, professionals, and so forth. Their son is now in long-term hospital. He tells them that God has told him not to eat or drink anything, that he soon will be able to work miracles, that he, the son, will be able to work miracles. He is being given food and water against his will. He has been told that his former wife has left him and remarried, and that there are now more children in the new marriage. But the son they had together is now 7 and showing signs of extreme confusion, asking if he will get the same sickness as his father. Dorothy and Ken keep in contact with their ex-daughter-in-law and their 7-year-old grandson, trying to be a support as best they can without interfering. As I think about them, I admire that they now often turn to our NAMI meetings, not only to keep in contact with others for their own mutual support, but now they turn outwards and are now peers to help others. Pretty impressive. Many of the people who come to one or other types of our NAMI meetings are these type of volunteer support people, people who are living with, taking care of someone who is mentally ill. While his sickness has disturbed, disrupted, and in some cases destroyed their own families, they know that other people need their support. NAMI is working with real people who have, as Joan says, but for fortune are you and I. Mostly society wants these people, these sick people, to be invisible. The stigma of this disease is so deep-rooted. Sometimes even these people themselves want to be invisible. Sometimes they just want to die. And they try to die to end their pain. I mentioned Martha earlier, and her daughter was only 27 when she couldn't endure the mental pain anymore. In addition to being the athlete and scholar she was using different drugs and alcohol to block out the reality of her life. I understand that. The label is co-occurring. But the reality is the person trying to dull real terrible mental pain. In many ways, my son is a lot like what she was. He too tried to push the voices and pain away. Unlike Martha's daughter, however, and uncharacteristic for Doug, he was not successful in his attempt to end it all, to end the pain. As in everything he ever did, he gave it his all. He jumped from his apartment room. It was on the 6th floor. Obviously, he was very badly hurt. Doctors told me they didn't know how he lived through it. Nobody does. Now he has to endure all the additional physical and medical pain, as well as the mental pain. Thanks for letting me share these thoughts. This past year, especially the summer, has helped me work through a lot. NAMI has been very helpful for me. You can tell others about it. It may help them too. Please join me in seeing these invisible people, as painful and scary as it may be to look. They are all around us, and maybe in your family too. Tell people that they are not alone. There is an organization that would understand. We would welcome them, and they would find the same support that I described this morning. Thanks for listening. In a few minutes, we're going to hear, no, we played Joan already. I'll just say that you've heard the words, most of them. And what she's saying is, if you can ever digest this, it's been in my mind for a couple years now. There go you and I. But for fortune, thanks for coming this morning.
Good old Pete Seeger, by the way, when this song originally got written, didn't have the sisters in it. Just had brothers. And the Weavers decided it had to be my brothers and sisters. And now we can think also of all those invisible people out there too. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out a danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring